Hey, Michelle, I've got a question for you.
Ooh, can't wait to hear it. What is it?
Well, do you like flying? Some people love it, some people hate it, some people just do it because they have to. What are your thoughts on flying?
I love flying. I I I mean, especially flying to a vacation, right? Like
Ah.
flying home, I don't like as much. However, I do kind of just like being on the plane. I feel like it's a time of peace because I can't do anything. I mean, now on like for better or for worse, you can do, you can be on your computer, you can blah blah blah. But at the same time, it just feels like I'm here. I have nowhere else to be.
You're in
I
the
have
air.
nothing,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So like I just kind of like it, but there's nothing more exciting than, being on a plane to somewhere. What do you think, Lindsay? Do you like flying?
I agree. I think airports are super exciting. We've talked about
Yeah.
this before. We
Yeah.
both kind of share that perspective. I like flying because well, lately I've been flying a ton. But I like flying because I don't really try to work. I don't try to connect to the internet
Yeah.
on these
Yeah.
flights because I've
Same.
had some bad experiences paying for it, didn't work, and then I got frustrated. So
Mm.
now I just load up on movies. I just go nuts. Like I just bring my iPad and I load up tons of movies, or I always use the seat back entertainment and I just junk out actually. And then that just kind of gets me through. So that's what I do. So it's kind of a little break from life because you're right. You
Yeah.
can't do anything, right?
Yeah. So, however, I will say that now flying with 2 children is different.
Yes.
And it's not a break, but even
Yeah.
so, I like it. When we flew back, we were in Paris and London, and when we were flying back from London, when we flew there, it was a red eye, so both of my kids just slept. On the
Yeah.
way back, the flight was at like 4 p.m. So
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody was awake. So that wasn't, but it was still fun, but it was a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's always tough when you go to Europe because most of your flights, at least from the East Coast, especially going to Europe, Western Europe, are always going to be red eyes most of the time,
Mhm.
right? And so you're going to
Mhm.
end up for 48 hour. You're gonna, have to
Mhm.
stay awake that whole day and then go to bed
Mhm.
early. Oh, it's tough. It's tough, but
Yeah.
it's exciting
Yeah.
because then you're in a new place and
Exactly. So
it's
you
great.
have that adrenaline going, like you're
Yes.
happy and yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
so I like it. So guys, we're going to be talking a lot. This is,
It's
a big
travel week,
travel week,
Michelle.
right? On All Ears English, right, Lindsay?
Yeah, tomorrow on tomorrow's episode, we're gonna bring you an interview that we did with Jared Kamrowski, and he's giving us the updated playbook for booking global travel in 2023. He shared some secrets, some
Right.
things that have changed since pre-pandemic, right? Things have changed a little bit. There are new methods that we can use to find
Mhm.
cheap flights. So listen tomorrow. Make sure you are hitting follow on All Ears English so you don't miss Jared's interview tomorrow. But for today, we're going into how do you talk about travel? Like, how do you talk about your airplane preferences? Is really what
Yeah.
it is, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Because this is a huge connection topic. I mean, Lindsay and I,
Yes.
we're going to make this a conversation episode, and you can just, because what we want when we have these kinds of episodes, we want you guys to see how much you can connect over something like this. Like Lindsay and I have
Yeah.
not had this conversation before.
Yeah.
We have some questions, but you're gonna see like how animated and excited and fun it of a topic it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
That's really just a great one to bring up.
These are really fun conversation questions we're going to go through today because people have opinions, especially if they travel a lot. They have strong opinions about these things, right? Because, when you're in that plane, you're stuck there, right?
Right?
You're stuck there potentially for 12, 15 hours if you're traveling from the US to Asia, for example. So you've developed strong opinions on these topics.
Yes.
And again, I just want you guys to take away from All Ears English this week in particular. The world's waiting for us. Let's get out there and travel again.
That's right.
Michelle, you and
That's right.
I have just been, I've been to Egypt, you've been to Western Europe. The feeling you get when you come
Yeah.
home from that trip is just magical. I don't
That's
know.
right.
It's incredible.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly, exactly. And guys, we wanna remind you to go to allearsenglish.com/app, APP, to get
Mhm.
the All Ears English app. Guys, there's gonna be a lot of vocab from today, and
Yeah.
on this app, you get the transcript as you're listening, and then you get bonus words that you can put into your own personalized power vocab list so you can stay organized and have your vocabulary in one place.
Yeah, this is gonna be awesome, and there's also another episode that we did in the past, episode
Mhm.
1203 called "Flying: How to Ask for a Seat Swap." So that is a very,
Mm.
very specific skill you're gonna get in that episode,
Yes.
but today's skill is gonna be a little different. Again, you can use these phrases and questions to talk with a friend about their airline preferences. You could also get into a conversation, I guess, with the person next to you about
Yeah.
this, but we may
Yes.
do another episode another day about how to start that nuanced conversation with the person next to you. Like, how do you know
Yeah.
if they really wanna talk to you? What are the signs, right?
Y
And what how do we do it? Right. So,
Yes. Okay, well, actually, let's start with that, Lindsay. I mean,
yeah.
have you do you like to talk to the person next to you, or do you have any experiences, striking up conversations with the people next to you?
I think things have changed over the years a little bit. Everyone's got like just like I said, I just junk out on
Yeah.
movies. So I've got my earbuds in all the time. I've got my iPad in front of my face. So I do it a lot less than I used to. But I will say, little fun fact about me, when I was in college, I ended up briefly dating someone that I met on an airplane.
Oh my
um like,
gosh!
for a few months after I met him on the plane, I met him on the way back from, Virginia to Connecticut flying, and he was from there, and we ended up dating brief for a couple months, but that's kind of fun. So I guess I do strike up conversations.
Wow, I guess you do. Wow. Well, that is very interesting. Yeah, I feel like it's hit or miss. I mean, with like starting those conversations. I remember like on this past flight home, there was a couple next to me. Actually the wife was in a different seat and then blah 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 blah. We did a whole shuffle and then she sat next to me in the middle and I was kind of talking to the husband and then the wife was in the middle, but I I felt like I really wanted to talk to them, but
Yeah.
I could tell they had come from where were they traveling from? I wanna say Egypt too, and then they had, like,
Ooh,
a layover in London,
okay.
and
Love that.
then and then, like, they were so I think they were exhausted because then they also had to go to San Francisco, so I think they were just
Yeah, that's really
exhausted, so,
tough.
like, I could tell it wasn't gonna happen, but then on another flight, back from Florida once, I had a whole long, heart to heart with this woman, um, so, yeah,
Yeah.
it happens, but
Yeah.
so Lindsay, here's another conversation question that people might have strong opinions about. Do you like airplane food?
Oh, it so depends on the airplane, Michelle. It so depend I guess it also depends on which class you're sitting in. I do not really do first class, but people that I know have done it for business travel and or for just life.
Mhm.
And it's just always so much better. It depends on the airline. I think typically, I've had great experiences with Turkish Airlines food, actually. I'm gonna
Mm.
call out Turkish
Oh.
Airlines. Hello, Turkish Airlines. Yes, I like your food. See, we have these strong opinions, right?
Yep.
What do you think, Michelle? What are your thoughts on airplane food?
Um, Not, like, in love with it, sometimes, like, it you know what? Okay, it's not so much the food that bothers me, it's when they try it's the timing of the delivery of the food. Do you
Mm,
ever, like because when they try and get you adjusted to the new time zone,
yeah, it's weird.
like,
They turn the
everything's, like,
lights
on like
on, serve breakfast. Yeah, yeah. If you do an
yeah, it's
overnight
like
flight,
8 o'clock at night and you're eating breakfast and you're like, "What just happened to my life?"
yeah,
Like, it's
totally.
just like,
But
that's
everyone
always
eats because
weird.
it's there, it's in front of you because 'cause you're
Right,
bored.
because
Right.
you're like, "Well, I guess yeah, so but I know, and, yeah, that's always an awkward time, like, especially when we got on the red eye to Europe and we're sitting there and, it's, like, dark and then it's light and you're like, "Well, I wanna sleep now. Do we have to everyone turn on the light?" And so
Yes, it
it's
is kind of a
that's weird.
mess. You're trying to regulate your body, but, like, you should be sleeping, but you should be awake, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a mess. Yes, I totally agree with that. I mean, the thing about airplane food for me is what I said before is, like, especially on these long flights, these 12-hour flights to Asia or Africa, right? So, we're just bored, and so food is in front of us, so we eat. That's me. There's
Yeah.
nothing else to do, so I just kind of eat the food, and then sort of watch a movie. So it's usually not great food, except for, like I said, Turkish Airlines is good food.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have strong opinions on that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you recline your seat or no?
I do. Another strong opinion. Some people think that like you shouldn't do it because it's rude. I disagree. I think it's there's a recliner on the seat for a reason. Like,
Mhm.
if it were not legitimate to recline your seat, you wouldn't be able to, right? Like, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have that mechanism, and I think just getting a little bit more space, sometimes I'll look back and just say, like, "Hey, do you mind if I go back?" But generally, I don't find that it really impacts me if someone reclines in front of
Yeah.
me because it
So do you
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's my opinion on that. I think it's
Yeah.
totally legitimate to recline, otherwise there wouldn't
It's
be a button.
that's true. So do you always ask before you do it, or
Most of the time I try to, like, look back and kinda gesture and just sort of, um but, again, like, I think it's okay to recline your seat in an airplane. I'm gonna stand by that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's okay. Sometimes I would say I usually do it just a little bit, but sometimes I'm just like, I don't know. I'm kind of weird on planes. Like I I don't know. I always want to watch a movie and then I like look through the movies on the
Oh,
screen and I'm
restless
like, "Oh."
mind.
But then I I very rarely end up actually watching a movie because I think I'm always trying to sleep
Oh,
or
awkward.
I I don't know, just having a moment of peace. I don't know, it's weird. I don't even know
Yeah.
what happened,
Yeah.
but somehow the time goes by.
Well, yeah, so we all have kind of different ways that we try to fill that time.
Yeah,
So reclining your seat is kind of, everyone has their own opinion on it, right? And,
yeah,
it's debatable for sure. But yeah,
yes.
that's my thought on it. Yeah. Okay, Michelle, what would be the next interesting conversation starter here about
Well, we
flying?
kind of have already been see, what's interesting about this is that through our natural conversation, we
Mhm.
were going to additional questions.
Yes.
So, like, the next question is, do you watch movies on the plane or read? Right,
Right.
but
Right.
we already got into it, and it just shows you how easy it is to just flow into these different topics when you're on a plane or talking about being on a plane. So these are so natural, but, do you follow the map?
Oh, no, it's too slow. I'll flip back to it, but I can't sit there and just watch it. It's too boring for me. But it's fun. It is fun, I will say, when you realize that you're over, like, Greenland or something, or
Yeah,
the Arctic Circle. I don't know if we go over that. Uh, just you're over a place that you imagine
yeah,
just being there, and it just
yeah,
blows your mind. That's the thing about
yeah,
travel, it just blows your mind. I don't know, it's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. It's amazing. It's amazing. And what about ears, Lindsay? Do your ears pop or do you ever have any ear pain?
No, I don't really have any issue with that. I don't have any kind of motion sickness. Sometimes, you'll feel that pressure when you first take off and you sit back and you kind of feel like you want to sleep almost when you're going
Yeah.
up, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I just sit back, but generally I don't have any issues. Um,
Yeah.
this yeah, what about you, Michelle? How does your body deal with the elevation, like going up to
So,
28,000 feet or however
it's
high we
it
fly?
It's not so much about going up. I used to have a lot of trouble with going, with the descent,
Oh.
because my ears would just like I don't know what would happen to them, but I would have terrible, terrible pain as a kid. I would just like sit next to my mom and cry.
Oh,
It
okay,
felt like my head
interesting.
was gonna pop off. It was terrible.
Ooh.
And so then I used to call myself the coolest person on the airplane because I would do like a nasal spray, chew gum, and like have like ear plugs to
That's cool.
to try and help, and I would just be like, I'm sitting on the plane like, and like it would be so ridiculous,
That's
and
funny.
so, but I think I had it so bad where, like, I had to get off the plane once, and it was so bad, like, I had to go get, like, a shot from a doctor to
Whoa,
help
that's
me.
wild.
I don't know if it was a I don't know what it was, but I but it
Yeah, I
helped.
I've seen that happen to people before. Yeah, I know, like, people in my family, I've seen them
Yeah,
suffer with that before randomly, like, it won't happen one time, and then it'll happen
yeah,
another time.
yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of
But I don't
interesting.
know, I haven't had it in a while. My ears do pop, and I'll have to swallow or chew something sometimes, but
Yeah.
the hard thing is now that now to watch my son because he'll, like, kinda complain that his ears are hurting, and I can't tell how bad. So I remember we were trying to distract him, when we were going to Florida earlier this year, and we were like, "Oh, it helps if you go like this, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see what I'm doing." And
Yeah.
like just circle
Go
your
like
ears
that?
and
Circles around your
yeah, we were
ears?
just trying to
Strange.
do something. We were just trying to do something to like distract him and make him think
Okay.
that something was helping. So,
Yeah,
but that
interesting.
can be very painful. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah,
don't
for
know.
sure. It's fun talking about our preferences. I mean, I'll just kinda transition. Are you afraid of flying at all, or have you ever been afraid of flying? Because people also go in and out of this.
So I mean, yeah, I know people who just don't fly
Ooh,
ever. And I when I was younger, I mean, this sounds terrible, but I remember I was afraid. And
okay.
I actually have this memory. I was going to Florida with my dad, and I think I told my friend I liked this guy named Sean.
Okay.
And I remember that telling my friend, like, if anything happens to me, tell Sean
Sean
that I
gets
liked
everything. No.
him. Yeah, tell him that I liked him so he knows.
That's
And,
so
like,
funny.
I still have this memory and, like, yeah, I mean, I think everyone has this, like, little thought in
Little
their
thought of
mind,
yeah.
right? But no, I think I'm mostly excited, but of course, it's always there in, like, your head a little bit. What about you?
Yeah, I'm really not. I'm really not. I do have people in my family close to me who have become afraid of flying at different
Yeah.
times. Like they'll
Yeah.
grab my hand when there's turbulence or they're just afraid
Yeah.
of it and have gotten over it, have gotten better at it. It doesn't stop them from flying, right? Which is the
Mhm.
important thing. But what you could do, guys. So this is a great topic. Maybe another day we could transition into more
Mhm.
into another topic in the aviation industry. Believe it or not,
Mhm.
I actually on my last flight from Boston back to Denver, I watched the documentary about Boeing. Everything that's been going on with Boeing. And this is more of a societal conversation you guys could get into. But
Yeah.
Boeing is a troubled company right now because of the
Yeah.
two accidents they had with the 737
Yeah.
Max. And the
So you
documentary
watched that while you were
I watched that
flying.
on the plane. Yes, I'm
That's
crazy.
interesting.
I'm
That's
crazy.
an
I
interesting
guess I'm
choice.
not afraid of flying. Like, oh,
I
yeah.
guess not.
But it goes into how, Boeing became like merged with another company and then their safety checks really went downhill. And then these two crashes happened. And so this is another topic we could go into related to travel, talking about the company of Boeing versus Airbus and like who is
Uh-huh.
on the upswing and what's happening there. If you look at the graphs of growth, Airbus is going up, Boeing is going down. It's really interesting.
Hmm.
It's fascinating what's going
That's
on there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, very interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to research more into it. Maybe I'll watch that documentary, but not on
Not
a
on the
flight.
plane. Yeah, I know, I know. I know I must be the only one who could ever do that. I don't know why I did, but anyways, Michelle, what's the takeaway for today? What do we think?
Well, the takeaway for today is these are great conversation topics. Like, I it's just so much fun to talk about these things, and people
Yeah.
have strong preferences, and I think that's why. And it also evokes stories to further connect.
Yes.
So
Stories.
we really just wanted to do this conversation episode, but we also did a lot of vocab today. I mean, talking about turbulence and airplane food and all
Yeah.
sorts of things. So, um, I think the takeaway is that this is a great connection topic, and you should be talking with people about
You
this.
really should because it gets you excited. It builds connection because you both hopefully love travel. So it bonds you when you talk about these
Yeah.
things that you both
Yep.
love. And today's episode, as well as yesterday's episode about luxury items, both, as you said, Michelle, shed light on a larger identity. Like they let
Mhm.
us talk about ourselves without talking about ourselves. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the
For
cool thing
sure.
about these two topics today. And tomorrow, get ready for my interview with Jared Kimrowski to learn how to book
Oh, this will be
travel post pandemic. I love it, Michelle. Good stuff.
all right, Lindsay, this was fun. We'll talk more about air travel soon.
All right. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.